The following session is from Signal TV, which occurred over on twitch.tv/Twilio on September 30th and October 1st.
Hey everyone, my name is Kelly Robinson. I am a developer evangelist here at Twilio. I am coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. And I'm super excited today to be joined by Donal Toomey, who is a product manager for our video API. Obviously, with the rise of video during the pandemic, it's more important than ever to build awesome experiences for your users with video. And Donal's here to tell us about an awesome new feature that we just released specifically for developers. So welcome, Donal, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. I'm very excited to be talking to everybody.
Yeah, where are you calling in from today?
I'm in Alameda, California.
Beautiful.
I
right
work
outside
out of our San Francisco office.
Yeah, perfect. And how long have you been at Twilio?
Over a year now, probably pushing 18 months.
Nice. Have you been working on the video API that whole time?
No, actually, I worked quite a bit on programmable voice as well, in particular the conference feature.
Very nice.
But since March, I have been heads down on video.
Did that coincide with COVID, or was that something?
Yeah. I think like in about the middle of March, all our metrics started ticking up, and then it started to get crazy.
Very, very nice. I mean, it's funny how this has changed priorities for everyone, but we have something cool to show from it. So hopefully there's at least one good thing that came out of all of this.
That's right.
But I know you have a demo for us today. Before you get into that, can you tell us just a little bit more about what you're going to be showing off?
Yeah. So yesterday we announced a new product offering for developers looking to build video applications. It's called Twilio Video WebRTC Go, and it allows developers get up and running really quickly. It's based on WebRTC, so WebRTC is under the hood. So you get all kind of the benefits of using WebRTC. It works on all modern browsers.
Beautiful. Just to jump in real quick, I'm a developer, but I don't have a video background. Can you just give us some more information? What is WebRTC?
Yeah. WebRTC is a set of protocols and capabilities that's built into browsers. It provides access to the camera and microphone, and it allows you a way to stream media onto the network. Cool. And then it's got some smarts in it for navigating firewalls, which is needed. And that's kind of so to get up and running with WebRTC on a browser is not too hard. I think there's some debate as to how hard it is. But you can get up and running, you can share a link with a friend for a little web app, and then you can kind of see each other like we're doing right now.
Cool.
The challenge then is when you want to bring that application to production, you need, infrastructure to handle to set up the call between participants. You need turn servers for relaying traffic. You need logging. You need diagnostics, and then it starts to get really hard.
Most fun stuff to build as a programmer, right? So is that infrastructure and that kind of stuff what the Twilio WebRTC Go API kind of adds on top of it?
Yeah, we provide all that kind of in the background, so you don't need to worry about it.
Cool.
And it leverages, some of the infrastructure we use for Twilio Video as a whole, which means that, we can auto scale it. It's hardened. You can rely on it. Very
cool. And one of my favorite things that I think I saw from the announcement is this is free, right?
Yeah, participant minutes are free, so there's no charge there. We do include 25 gigabytes of turn relay as well, which should be enough.
What is turn relay?
Good question. So when let's say two participants are trying to establish a network path to each other to relay the video and the audio, sometimes they can do a direct connection. Sometimes they can figure out the public IP address of the peer. But for some cases, they can only go out, right? There's no connection inwards.
Okay.
So what they will do is they'll both connect to a turn server in the cloud.
Okay.
And that turn server will relay the video and the audio.
Gotcha. And so this is one way to kind of get around firewalls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Firewall navigation. Yeah.
Very cool.
But then, yeah, so then you need these turn servers in the cloud, and you need to be able to scale, hundreds of them if you get really big.
Cool.
Which every developer aspires to.
Yeah, exactly. Ship it to production tomorrow. Sounds great. But you have a demo for us that we are ship right now. Want to show us the demo of how we can put this into action?
Yeah, that's cool. So let me move this over here. So I just call out that all the details about Twilio Video WebRTC Go is in the blog post that we posted yesterday. So twilio.com/blog. And, it talks about how to get started, a little bit of the UI. And then this is what we're going to talk about, right? So the source code is available on GitHub. Okay, great. So the source code is here, and it's our Twilio Video app React. So it's a React JS application. And we have so we're going to do a demo on the React JS one, but cool. We also have an iOS app and an Android app, and the source code is all available.
Yeah.
And
while you're bringing this up, it sounds like there was a question yesterday about WebRTC IP leaking. Is that something that's a concern?
No, I think it was an issue a few years ago, but it's resolved in the later versions.
Okay.
So here are the folks that worked on this application. So, shout out to them. Okay, so I will go down here. And I happened to do a whole bunch of this stuff earlier so it saved time. So the source code is all here.
Can you make that just a little bigger?
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Yeah, that should be better. Chat, go ahead and tell us if you want it any bigger.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, let me do this and then I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, very nice. So you're using the Twilio CLI.
So we're using the Twilio CLI. I set the room type to be Go, so WebRTC Go rooms. So what it's going to do is build the application, and then it's going to deploy it to Twilio functions, essentially, right? So we use Twilio functions to host the web app and also to host a access token server. So it's a pretty basic access token server. I think if you want to take this and go to production, you may want to update that code and host it yourself. The access token server provides a token for participants to join the room. So it's kind of your authentication. Okay, so it's done all the magic, and it's given me a URL here. So I was going to post this in my browser, and I think, Kelly, I gave you one as well. So
yeah.
Hopefully you can join me. And there's a few things I kind of want to point out. Okay, first of all, let's do my name. We do room type signal, just all lowercase.
Okay.
So it's going to join the room. It's going to allow me ask me for camera and microphone. And there you can see me, my other camera. So I'm going to mute. And so one of the things that one of the kind of pitfalls developers have when they build video applications is, assuming that all users will have their camera and microphone set up correctly, or they'll have like a good network. So one of the things we advise is to do this kind of pre-call test, or at least have a diagnostics page where people can, check their camera, check their microphone.
Super useful.
Yeah, so that when they get into the call, everything is cool. Otherwise, people can get in and there can be problems, and then they're trying to figure out what's wrong, and they don't know what's wrong. And this is an easy way. Okay, so I will join. And one of the things you'll notice is the UI layout. Hey, how's it going? So we did a refresh of the UI. So it's a really nice, clean, modern design. This is a one-on-one layout. We have another layout for multi-party. So if you take the source code and you deploy it, instead of using Go rooms, you use group rooms, then you get this kind of nice multi-party layout as well. So certainly, folks should check it out.
And so one of the limitations of WebRTC Go is that it is peer-to-peer. It's just 2 people.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to update this to include more people, is that as simple as changing the room type?
Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
we set it up so that we could make it easy for people to get started. But then if they felt they needed to grow in the future, we wanted to make sure that you didn't have to redeploy apps to the App Store, that you could just change your configuration setting, and now you can support like more participants.
That's very cool.
So it's got kind of standard like mute, unmute, stop video. I have my settings if I want to switch camera. I can do that.
Yeah. And what about like other limitations of WebRTC as a platform? Like, it's really awesome that this is all free, but like, is there anything else that developers should be aware of?
So we do use it in Twilio as well for our, let me just disconnect out of here so we can chat again. So we use WebRTC for programmable voice as well, right? So we have a voice SDK, which is called the Twilio client, and that supports voice calls or voice over IP calls using WebRTC. You can connect into Twilio and bridge between WebRTC calls and PSTN or phone calls, essentially.
Gotcha. And then there's a question in the chat. What's the difference between programmable video, so like the Twilio Video.js and WebRTC Go?
Yeah, so the main difference is the room type. So you get the same SDK because we wanted to be able to kind of abstract the underlying changes that happen kind of in the browsers as WebRTC moves forward. So we abstract that, put it in the JavaScript SDK, and then you can select Go rooms or you can select group rooms, whatever you think you need.
Makes sense. Another question was, does bitrate adjust as link quality varies?
Yeah. So I guess one of the other smarts around WebRTC is its ability to adapt to the bandwidth that's available and the network conditions. So it can deal with fluctuating Wi-Fi conditions, packet loss, and try to optimize the experience, based on whatever network you have.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it will adjust like resolution, frame rate, and stuff like that. So I think other video solutions, they freeze and then they continue at a later point. The WebRTC tries to keep things moving, but maybe at a slightly lesser quality.
Yeah, makes sense. So what are some of the benefits of WebRTC Go compared to the other group rooms?
Well, the participant minutes is free.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to worry about cost until you outgrow it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the main benefit.
Yeah, free is good.
Yeah. And like the idea is that you could go to production with this, that you can, get to a reasonable scale, right? So we think that you can easily get to 100,000 minutes per month.
Gotcha.
Which is pretty good. Before you'd need to kind of move on to the next size.
Yeah.
And your mileage will vary, right? Because, with the turn servers, it depends on what kind of network your users are on. And if they don't need a turn server, then, you could potentially get up to 1 million minutes in a month.
Nice. Cool. So another question from Nick Mad Science. What's a use case for this as opposed to something like OBS Ninja?
Well, so we see people doing like lots of stuff with video, right? So one-on-one tutoring, dating apps, social apps with friends, because you can do a screen share here as well, right? Or we could be watching some content together. We have this capability called data tracks as well, which allows you to send arbitrary data between participants. And we have customers who use it for whiteboards or, drawing applications. We've even seen, let's say for grandparents on a call with grandchildren, they can read an online book together. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And they can even do little games together as well. So there's no limits, right? The limits are only your imagination, right? And the whole idea of these video APIs is to kind of get away from, the standard video conferencing solutions
Yeah.
and develop something new yourself, right?
Yeah. No, it sounds like people are getting their own ideas in chat here, so that's exciting. This question's got some technical acronyms that I don't know, but I'm hoping that you do. So, have you adapted the RTC code to support AV1, or does this solely use VP8/VP9 or
Yes.
H.264/H.265?
Yes, no. So the WebRTC Go will use whatever codecs are available in the browser. Right? So browsers today have VP8, VP9, and H.264. So VP8 is the most common. All browsers support that. Safari added it last year. H.264 is also there. We find it's not quite as good, except maybe if you're on like Safari to Safari. VP9 is available in Google Chrome. I think it's also available in Firefox and the new Edge as well. So when the participants connect and use the signaling infrastructure, they will negotiate the codec that they want to use. So if it's Chrome to Chrome, most likely it would be VP9. So AV1 is certainly kind of a hot topic, and it appears that Google have some element of AV1 in Chrome, but not for WebRTC. I believe it's for like YouTube playback. So hopefully over the next year or so, we'll start to see AV1 appearing. And AV1 is kind of like the next generation video codec, right? So it's a generation newer than VP9 and newer than H.265. So provides better compression, but obviously at a cost of higher CPU.
Right. Yeah, that's what Chef Brent's saying in the chat, that it's pretty intense on processors.
Yeah. Well, luckily they, laptops get better every year. So
yeah.
The day is coming.
Yeah.
And like the real benefit though is that you need less bandwidth for like higher quality video.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Another question came in from Cloudversify. Is it possible to connect a SIP video phone with a Twilio video room, perhaps with some form of video SIP trunking?
Not today. So
Okay.
you could do
What
voice.
about tomorrow?
It's a question that has come up a few times. I would say it's under consideration, but I cannot give you any definite plan. The challenge is doing that bridging work, because on one side you have a particular signaling protocol, certain codecs, and the other side you have different. So you need to bridge the two worlds. And sometimes I joke that it'd be cheaper just to send out everybody iPads rather than trying to actually do the work to make it work.
That's fair. So, I mean, I've learned a lot in this conversation already, but, especially as somebody that like doesn't deal with video all the time, what is a hard problem in video that most developers take for granted?
Yeah. So I think dealing with the network conditions in a real-time manner is quite hard, because what you want to be able to do is deal with a momentary loss, like drop in bitrate, like a router drops a whole bunch of packets, to be able to absorb that and come back with reasonable quality or good quality just afterwards, right? So I think, let's say some of the early algorithms would try to adapt to the network, but would like undershoot it. So then the quality would be really poor, and they wouldn't be able to kind of get back up again for a minute or so. So that algorithm under the hood that's dealing with these network fluctuations is quite sophisticated, and it's kind of bolted down to the encoder as well, right? So it's giving the encoder settings on the fly to adjust the bit rate, the frame rate, and the resolution. So we take it for granted.
Yeah.
Also, like just even like disconnections,
Totally.
coming back, automatic reconnections, that kind of stuff.
Another question in the chat, does Go support local recording?
No. So you could probably build it yourself if you want to, right? So you would subscribe to the peer participant, and then record to disk. So it is possible to do it, but we don't have that out of the box. In general, we use our cloud recording capability for recordings.
Gotcha. Is there a way to natively integrate workers from one client environment into another? This specific use case would be bringing a third-party language interpreter from a Twilio-based client into another Twilio-based telehealth session.
That's a very interesting question. So I guess the short answer is yes. The long answer is there are some, I guess, maybe privacy/compliance issues to consider. So for, let's say, when we did our little demo, when the client connects, it's provided an access token, and that access token is associated with the room, video room, and also my account. So in theory, I could give my access token to anybody. And then that person can connect to the room using a Twilio Video SDK. So if you want, so you could, in theory, let's say, establish some sort of business relationship with a third party, whereby you would provide them with access tokens to access your rooms. But you need certain level of security around that, and you got to make sure that you're compliant with whatever business compliance rules you need to adhere to.
Is that easy to do in like a secure and compliant way with any of the Twilio Video APIs, or is that just a limitation of Go?
It's the same for all of them.
Okay.
So the access token is a fairly generic way of granting permission. So I guess all you need really is an encrypted link to distribute it, and then of course with encrypted links you can go as far as you want to go on the level of security. Yeah,
makes sense. Awesome. Well, that was really great. I learned a lot. I hope you all watching learned a lot as well. Thank you for joining us and demoing the new WebRTC Go product, Donal. Just a reminder, WebRTC Go is a free and lightweight video API that is available now. You can get started right away. This is available. Is it in the Code Exchange?
I think it's in Code Exchange as well. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. We'll drop a link in the chat for some getting started guides. And I do have to ask one last question before we sign off. Which do you prefer, cake or pie?
I'd have to go for the pie. Cakes are not my strong point.
I swear we did not coordinate this ahead of time, but that is the only right answer.
I'm glad you agree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll have more sessions from Signal TV coming really soon, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe now. In the meantime, check out one of these other videos appearing on screen right now. We'll see you real soon. Until then, I'm out of here. Bye.